TikTok bans, Chinese propaganda, and civil unrest. All things colliding to form a future that does not look so bright. TikTok is made by a Chinese company called ByteDance. ByteDance, if you don't know, is a massive Chinese company that has all of these other companies under its belt. Its biggest moneymaker, though, is TikTok, I believe. Obviously, since the way China's government is set up, all the biggest companies have to operate with the Chinese government. It's not like the American government where businesses can do their own things. Businesses can be private. They don't have to operate with the government, even though a lot of businesses do anyway. So that's the biggest concerns that the American government has with ByteDance, is the fact that they work with the Chinese government, and it's like they feel like, oh, they're stealing all the American people's data, like the American people's data isn't being archived right now on a black market website accessed by everyone. All these viral clips of people talking about like praising China and stuff, it's like grade A propaganda, obviously. And I don't get why people are falling for it so easily.
We're like, wait a second, you guys have universal healthcare? You don't have to pay for an ambulance when you get picked up to the hospital. You have amazing cars for very low prices. Huawei, the amazing phones they have are also so much better than iPhones. And all of that is forbidden here. We cannot have any of that. Wait a second, you can walk at night outside and not be afraid? There's no mass unalivings in schools? What?
The thing is, both countries talk to their citizens about other countries, lie to their citizens about other countries all the time. All countries tell their citizens a certain thing about especially opposing countries. You know, all countries around the world have cultures that have feelings about different countries. I mean, it's just pure nationalism. That's just what happens when you have a nation, right? What we're seeing here isn't just a debate over an app, but it's kind of a preview of all the societal factors, all the economic dependencies, and even the propaganda fueled chaos. That's what we're seeing right here. We're seeing so much chaos about to ensue before our eyes. I mean, it's already ensuing before our eyes. There's so many things happening all at once.
Nobody can really keep up.
We know a lot of American citizens make a lot of money off of TikTok, the TikTok shop, branding. Maybe, you know, they got their biggest following on TikTok, some aspect that they have that ties their life directly to TikTok. So that's why this ban was such a big deal, or is such a big deal, and that's why it came back in less than 24 hours. What I like to believe the government realized is that you are going to be taking a lot of money out of a lot of people's pockets that you could be just taxing, you know, that you are taxing actually. So you're taking money out of your own pocket by, you know, not allowing TikTok to exist in America. Obviously, TikTok is a great lifeline for many businesses, many influencers. You know, all these people have their lives in a way tied to TikTok directly. You know, it directly affects them when you take something like TikTok away, right? Or any of these Chinese apps. A lot of people rely on these Chinese apps to make their content, to be a creator, you know, to actually be an influencer.
I love being in America. I like living in this country. I really do. I'm not from here. Well, you don't know that. I was born in Egypt. I moved over here when I was 8 years old. And ever since I moved over here, I have had a wonderful time. Started off in New Orleans, then I moved to Detroit, then Toledo, then Detroit again, then back in Toledo now. I have always enjoyed living here. I have always enjoyed the freedoms that I've expressed. I have enjoyed every piece of what it's been to be here. I love being here. I really do. And I like the fact that we have freedom. I like the fact that we can enjoy the freedoms we have. But if those things can be easily taken away because it feels like a risk or a threat because it's getting too big, oh, it's a national security, it's the Chinese government's doing this, Chinese government doing that. I hate that. I hate that we can't freely enjoy the things that now are funding a lot of people. A lot of people are allowing that for their job,
The reason why they get to have all of this dependency is because of TikTok's unmatched algorithm. Somehow, some way, TikTok knows exactly what people want out of brands, out of individuals, out of pretty much anybody, right? And that's why a lot of people prefer TikTok over a lot of other social media apps, right? So there's also the effect of this algorithm, right? Banning TikTok isn't going to get rid of this algorithm. This algorithm will be used by other Chinese companies and can literally start the exact same thing all over again. So now you're gonna have to issue another ban for another app and another ban for another app and another ban. It's kind of like the FDA, where when they ban a chemical and all they do is like change one molecule in the chemical, and now it's a whole different chemical that they have to go through a whole bunch of tests and regulations and all this stuff, a whole bunch of investigations and regulations just to pass a simple ban on something that is dangerous for you. So all that to say, even if they ban TikTok, its influence won't just disappear, won't just dissipate, right? It has made its mark on branding and modern culture way too much for people to just let it go. That's why all this public outcry happened. Obviously, when it comes to the ban and all that stuff, it's going to escalate. People are going to want to push the boundaries, right? People are going to download VPNs. People are going to bypass it by moving to other countries. People are going to do a lot of stuff because of this TikTok ban. It's literally just TikTok alone, right? That's just one aspect of the chaos that this ban could cause. And it's not just the TikTok ban, but it's having a whole lot of other ripple effects that are really weird.
We're just going to TikTok's other app.
Tonight, amid fear a TikTok ban could take effect later this week, some Americans flocking to Chinese apps like RedNote.
I'm a TikTok refugee.
I'd like to attribute that to the human condition. When you tell somebody that they can't have something that they rely on for their well-being and their peace of mind, of course they're gonna find workarounds. Of course they're gonna resist. It's inevitable. So, of course, there was a lot of creators, a lot of small businesses telling the US government or making videos about how they literally rely on TikTok for their branding, for their marketing, for how they get their customers. There was a lot of businesses relying on TikTok.
170 million Americans are currently on TikTok, and that includes some local business owners who use the popular social media platform to drive customers to their businesses.
With the ban, businesses have been forced to pivot to other social media platforms.
I think just with the idea of TikTok going away for small businesses, it does impact, because it is a platform where you can share with the world, really, and not just stay local.
So I feel like that's just another small aspect of the ripple effects, right? A huge economic fallout can happen, right? A lot of businesses will close down, just like in COVID. It's like COVID 2.0, but it's no sickness. You don't have to stay inside. It's more of just now, because we've had to stay inside and because everything has gone online, it's like now you're taking away the online aspect. It's like they can't win. Then you have the potential for protest. Obviously, once the seeds of civil unrest are sowed into a nation, they're gonna resist. There's already been plenty of times where digital censorship has led to a civil uprising. So obviously, the connection to TikTok isn't just systemic, it's personal. Now, I want to talk about propaganda and how propaganda can be used in your own country. Now, since the announcement of the TikTok ban, I've seen plenty of videos all over the internet, on all social medias, about how great China's technology is, about how great China's nation is, about how great the societal structure is in China. It's all propaganda. And I'm not saying China isn't great. I don't really know. Honestly, I don't really care. And that's why this annoys me, is because I can see through it, because I don't have any personal connection to America or China, really. Obviously, this is more algorithmic than it is person by person, right? Because it wasn't just me seeing this, right? It's not just the content, it's what the algorithm decides to push to you. And you know what confuses me? I find it very ironic that Americans have a distrust in the government for collecting their personal data, but as soon as a foreign body wants to collect their data, oh yeah, it's fine, they can have all of my data. It doesn't make any sense, frankly. I feel like for most people, when convenience is more appetizing than actual protection, than national security, than, I don't know, your whole life not being snatched, then they care more about convenience. Of course your own government is going to use your own data against you. So why wouldn't you think a foreign body wouldn't? Now, I feel like the TikTok ban isn't just a stupid move by the government, but this is probably a play by China themselves, right? I mean, when you think about propaganda, now, when you think about propaganda, it isn't just about convincing everyone in a nation, but just planting enough seeds of doubt that it spreads divide. And as you know, if you watch my video on why humans are so divided, you would know, you divide, you conquer. To the people, it seems whether it's Chinese surveillance or Western corporate overreach, they don't really care. They just want to live in whatever dystopia they want. I would say no matter what side you choose, it seems like some people would love China, some people would love America's system, but either way, it doesn't really matter, right? To most people, they just want to live day to day. They just want to exist, because it doesn't affect your day to day, does it? I mean, it probably would, but not too much, right? I mean, what do we really do every day? We go to work, right? We come home. We talk to our friends if we have friends. Maybe we talk to our girlfriends if we have that. Maybe we talk to our family if we have that. We say things. We have things to talk about. We have things to comment on. Of course, if it's about the government, we probably can't do that. But no matter what, we will be able to talk about stuff, right? We'll be able to play our video games. We'll be able to do whatever we want as long as the government permits it, right? Don't you love a world like that where we just can't say anything about our government, regardless of whichever government you align with? The reality is clear. Things are going to get much, much worse before they get better. The future isn't written yet, but your apathy will create a new chapter, regardless if you do anything or not. So be the creator I know you are.
Still kicking hot flow, still got that oso, still living under radar because they are underlooking, overworking me with no emergency. Still I keep the courtesy, they all wanna murder me.